The Rogan Report Podcast. Check it out.
All things Joe Rogan by day. Rogan Report Podcast by night. All day. All night. Half hour to an hour-ish episodes once a week.
The Rogan Report Podcast.
All right, Shane. Welcome to another episode of the Rogan Report. Episode 8, in fact.
Episode 8. Flying through these bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thousands of downloads on Spotify, you're saying.
Well, I wouldn't go with an S on that.
Thousand of
downloads
on Spotify.
Yeah.
So if you're listening on Spotify, shout out to you.
Huge
my
shout
friend.
out.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
As we explore our good friend, or it feels like a friend, right? Isn't that the crazy thing about podcasting, that you feel like you really get to know people that you're listening
For sure.
to?
That's what I used to get. That's what I used to love about it when I first started listening to Joe and his friends. It kind of reminded me of being young, hanging out with my friends. And I was, at this point, I had kind of young kids. I wasn't really doing that anymore.
Oh,
so,
yeah. That makes sense.
That's what got me. Last week, I was going on a little bit about Mark Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
How he had a fight coming up. Well, I'm
Nope.
such a huge fan that I missed that fight. It was in September.
It was one of the off-branded Fight Pass fights? Or?
Yeah, fight night. It
Fight
was
night?
Alexei Olenek. And,
Okay.
he lost via Ezekiel choke.
Ah.
But he did hammer him with some sweet Mark Hunt punches.
Okay.
But
Wasn't
lost
enough.
in the first.
Okay.
So just you know.
That Ezekiel choke is kind of where you use your forearm, right?
Yeah, it's very similar to just a rear naked choke. Is what it kind of looked like to me, but they
Right.
called it an Ezekiel choke. So
because of the forearm. Is
I
that
guess, yeah.
I think that's the thing that makes it.
yeah.
Yeah. See, I've watched a lot of fighting, and I did take karate up to my yellow belt when I was about 5. So I think I'm an expert.
I well, greater than me. I was in karate twice, but maybe did three classes altogether.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I did quite a bit. I did 2 years, and learned some katas where you do the fake punches and blocks through in different steps, and yeah. It was kind of fun. That part I didn't really like, but we did do a little bit of sparring, and that was always fun.
Like actually hitting and shit.
Yeah, not it was never hard. It was you were, try to get in and land a punch as quickly as possible. And we weren't, I think there was no punches to the face or head.
Okay.
It was all just try to land to the body.
What, 50% or?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I kind of remember going as hard as I could.
Some kid probably pushed it, right? I'm going to knock this bitch out.
Yeah, my biggest memory of it is I was fighting this much bigger kid than me.
Yeah.
And I was winning, because they would stop. It was point karate. It would stop after, and I would land quick, but he would just laugh at me because I wasn't doing any damage at all.
Oh,
he
shit.
probably could have just tuned me with one shot coming in. But yeah, I remember I was proud of myself that I was winning the match.
Yeah. Well, that's karate for you.
Yeah. So this week in Joe Rogan started with 1181 John Dudley, and on the same day the MMA Show 44 John Kavanagh and George Lockhart, and this was right after the big battle. So what did they talked a lot? I mean, we talked a lot about Conor and Khabib on the last show.
We did.
And then John and the two Johns and George, they also talked a lot about it.
I assumed I'd be back talking about it this week too. Honestly, It's been the news all week, kind of.
True. So John Dudley is a pro archer, and he's host of that Knock On podcast that Joe raves about all the time.
Yep.
It's available on iTunes, and he's also doing this hashtag do awesome shit.
Yep.
Program where they're going across. Their plan is to go across the country with an RV and just go see what awesome shit people are doing. And so you can tag this hashtag do awesome shit, tag yourself doing awesome shit, and then they'll look at it and go, yeah, that is awesome shit.
Look for me doing some awesome shit here.
Oh,
this
cool.
Week. I'm looking for my opportunity.
That's exciting. I should tag myself. I'm going golfing a couple times this week.
That's pretty awesome.
It's
fucking October in Canada.
It's very snowy outside right now, but it's supposed to get nice again.
I heard that. Yeah.
I have golfed. I actually have video of I was out with my son, and he's hitting his drive, and there's like so many. It's like a blizzard, and the wind is blowing all their super light snowflakes, and it's blowing them every direction.
Oh yeah,
It looks crazy,
Yeah.
and that was a good day.
so Canadian.
Yeah, totally. I never put that up. I know I had you know what surfaced. I made this video, which was actually a promo for my old podcast, called The Chubby Cuddler.
I saw
And-
the chubby cuddler. I remember it.
Do you
yeah.
remember it? Yeah, I made that video. I had this idea, you know, for an infomercial to sell myself as a chubby cuddler to keep women warm.
Yep.
Which I thought was a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And so yeah, some of my staff found it, and they were kind of circulating it around,
Nice.
and I was like, they were like laughing and like, man, this is awesome, this is hilarious. And I was like, thanks. I kind of don't. Like, it's kind of not for you, but
Yeah.
thanks, I guess. Anyways,
Yeah, you're still an underling, but
yeah, I was
very
like,
funny.
settle down. Just you're like that on the QT. But shout out to my staff, I guess, if any staff are listening.
Is that thing on YouTube?
It is on YouTube.
Maybe we should.
You know, it went viral, and it got like 10,000 views in the
Nice.
first day, and it was getting some traction, and then it got yanked off YouTube.
What?
Yeah, they said that like they were suspicious of like bot activity, and that like someone had hired bots to make it like
Why? Because they thought it wasn't worthy of 10,000 views. Actually.
there must have somehow it must have gotten mixed in with some like
Oh,
legit bot. I assume that they have some way of testing for
for
that.
sure. You should repost
And definitely
that thing.
none of us used any bots. We're not paying money to
Hell no.
get bots going.
No.
And so it got yanked off YouTube, and then my buddy that made it with me, he did all the like film and the editing of it. And helped me write it too, actually. Ryan Byrne, shout out to Ryan Byrne. Lots of shout outs in this episode
Shout out.
already.
Yeah.
But shout out to Ryan. He's an awesome, real super funny guy, stand-up comedian, and good. Like he's great with film, and he helped me make that video. And so he threw it up, and I forget what I was talking about. Now there's only like 300 and some views on it,
Oh, okay.
because they did allow it to go back up. They're like, okay, we trust that you're not robots, and we're like, we're not robots. And so they let us put it back up, but they put it back up without any of the views.
Okay.
So it's up with like 300.
Should strap it to the
30 or
jet
something.
engine that is the Rogan report.
Maybe we should put it on Spotify.
I think you should. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should. Definitely.
Yeah. So
Um,
that's something besides the point. So the Joe was saying in that John Dudley podcast that he doesn't want to see a rematch of.
Yeah. He's
Connor
over
Khabib.
it.
He's like, it's just going to be the same thing.
I kind of, man,
He
I want it
feels-
to be different, but I kind of agree it is going to be the same thing.
Connor, though, because in the very next podcast where he talks to John Kavanaugh, John's like, no, Connor is just set on, like, he's like, I'd love for Connor to have some different fights, but Connor only wants this one fight.
Well, it's just like with Nate, right? And everybody was like, what do you mean? You can't
And-
fight him again at 170? There's no way.
And they didn't. They've fought at 155 the next
No,
fight,
no,
didn't
it
they?
was 170.
They were
again.
both 170?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, my memory of it is that they fought the next one at 55.
That was the whole thing. He had to redo it again. And he's saying if there was a third, now we'll go down to 155.
Oh, okay.
Because it's actually neither Nate nor
No,
Connor's
they're
actual
both,
weight class.
Yeah, they're both 55ers.
which was weird.
Do you want to see a rematch?
I mean, I just want to see Connor turn it around, but man,
Yeah.
it would suck to see him lose twice to that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the nail, one of the nails in a coffin, I feel like,
Yeah.
for that to happen.
So, but do you think like the big thing, 2 years out of the game, I know we said this in the last podcast, he just didn't look like the same
No.
Connor that
No.
we've seen
But
fucking up Alvarez.
and his last fight though was a boxing fight.
yeah, which is just weird and not even I guess it was a real legit boxing fight, but
Yeah.
uh,
Well, there's this other news too that Khabib actually threatened Dana White, saying if you fire my guy, what's his name, Zubara?
that's the guy that jumped over the
the guy.
fence.
If you fire him, he's out too because we're brothers and we're in this thing together.
Really?
Basically, what he said. He's like,
Uh.
and fuck my money, basically, keep it.
Yeah, okay. Well, fair enough. That dude, I don't know if he should be fired. He shouldn't have jumped over the fence and punched Connor in the head.
But that is what Dana said right off the hop. That guy is never fighting in the UFC
Oh, yeah?
again because he's a UFC fighter.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So
We'll
we'll see what happens from that. They're not going to walk away from that Khabib Connor rematch. You
Yeah.
know that was like 2.4 million buys on pay per view. The previous record was 1.6, and that
Wow.
was Connor versus Nate too.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy. It seemed like it was, kind of up in the air as to whether it would be super successful or not.
for sure, they didn't hype it like the other ones.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So,
That's interesting.
which didn't go well for Connor.
No.
I mean, that hype's kind of part of his thing.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a factor.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, then.
I think I'm over that matchup for now.
But so Khabib then presumably fights like fucking angel tattoos.
Tony
next?
Ferguson.
Ferguson?
It has to be if it's not Connor.
Right? And then so what if Ferguson beats Khabib and then Connor comes back and fights Ferguson and beats Ferguson?
Because Ferguson takes shots. You
He
see him
does.
get hit a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think
But
he
that
takes all
doesn't-
those Connor bombs.
No, and that doesn't last. I mean, even every fight he's closer to not being able to take those kinds of
If
shots.
Pettis hadn't broke his hand too, that might have been a different fight.
Could have been.
Pettis
Yeah.
got him a few times pretty good, and he was
Yeah.
starting to get warmed up there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
So
Who knows?
exciting.
Yeah.
What else do we want to say about these shows?
Well, John Dudley there was talking a little bit about keeping spots secret to hunt. And Joe
Oh, yeah,
thought that
right.
was preposterous. And
Yeah.
I thought it was preposterous as well.
Yeah.
You don't know this spot, bro. This is a point on the earth.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
interesting
yours.
though. I kind of know the urge, whereas like you find something cool, you want to share it with people, but you only want to share it with people that you like know and are in and are friends with. You don't want like if you went to a spot and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of people there and they've
Right.
scared away all the fish. You're like, God
Yeah.
damn it! Now this spot sucks.
And they've brought a stereo and they're drinking beer
Yeah,
and
you're
things
like,
are rowdy.
oh my god, this is like this was a good spot. Now it's a shit spot. It's been
Yeah,
ruined
no,
by
yeah.
a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so it's I kind of get both sides.
For sure. Me too. I'm not much of a hunter though.
No,
And when people talk about owning spots, it makes me feel weird.
yeah, like you want to own that spot, okay, well buy that spot, but
Yeah.
you're not allowed to
Yeah.
buy the spot. It's
Put a
part
fence around it. Then you can
can't,
call
though.
it your spot.
Yeah, then you could, but that's public land, and it's public land by law.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to just go and buy it, or it would have been bought, 100 times over.
For sure. Yep.
The oil companies want to buy it.
Yeah. Well, and they are slowly, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, they work out weird deals where they can like lease, like, oh no, we'll just lease it for a little while.
They don't need
Take
to
all the
buy
oil
it.
out.
They're doing all whatever they would do to it if they did buy it anyways.
totally.
Right? So there you
Okay.
go. So moving on, I guess, to
Yeah.
number
John Kavanagh.
44.
George Lockhart. So Kavanaugh is his like main head coach, right? Connor's main head coach.
Yeah.
And then George Lockhart is like his nutrition specialist and helped with getting the weight cut
The
done
weight cut done,
for
yeah.
tons and tons of different fighters.
For sure. In fact, he's aiming to be the only guy in the UFC doing it. He was talking about that.
Right.
That most of the competition just doesn't even have anything on him whatsoever.
Yeah. Like obviously he's an expert and he's working with these super high level athletes, but I was kind of like, I don't know, my bullshit meter was going off when
Well,
Lockhart was
He
speaking. I
seemed
was
a
like,
little smarmy
I
or
was
something.
like, what's going on?
He
Yeah,
had
it's like,
that-
do you know what you're talking about?
Had that car salesman
Like,
thing.
yeah, like carnival.
Hey, bro, I
Yeah.
get it. You're smart and stuff,
He
but
starts talking about the different kinds of sugars. He's like, oh, it's just a monosaccharide. I'm like, do you know what that
hang
means?
on, I don't have my dictionary
Yeah.
right now.
Oh, okay.
Let me get into the Google here.
Yeah. So that we'll probably get some hate for
Probably.
hating on Lockhart.
Yeah.
Obviously he's doing a good job. He's working with these guys and they're making weights and they're happy with him.
Yeah.
So he knows the game for sure, but I'm not quite as convinced that he's as much of a specialist as he is pretending to be.
I'm more interested in hearing him talking about like the training specific stuff. you know?
Yeah.
He talked about carbs during workouts and after workouts,
Right.
like a carb load to
Mhm.
replace what you're losing there. which
Yeah.
is,
I'm low carb here, almost halfway through sober Ketober.
how you feeling?
And I'm down officially 10 pounds now from the heaviest that I was in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
You know what's fun? Since you started your keto, I stopped mine and I'm up 10 pounds.
Oh, is that right, eh?
Yeah, so that's the thing. That shit's real.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think I'll keep it going. Like I was initially planning to just do kind of October, but I think I'll just make this my regular diet, but I'll plan like a cheat. I've had a couple of cheat meals
Yeah.
And so I can plan a cheap meal once a week.
Yeah.
And I think that's good enough to kind of satiate the urge to like, oh man,
Yeah.
I'm never going to be able to have ice cream again.
For sure. For
Right?
sure.
Like,
That's how I think I'm going to do it. I'm getting started here again tomorrow.
Yeah. So like one cheap meal once a week. And if that's like a bowl of ice cream once, or if that's like a cheeseburger, I'm going to try to keep, I think, the refined sugars as much to a low as possible.
Yeah.
Because those seem to be, I think that's probably the biggest thing. 'Cause I'm not in ketosis. I'm eating, my percentages of my carbs and my fat are all fucked up.
Yeah. Well, even if you're not in ketosis, you're still going to be, you're eating cleaner, right?
Yeah. That's the big thing.
That by itself. And you're watching your calories. Which is
very, very little bread and but I'm having carbs in other forms. Like, I've had some quinoa with my salads and.
Yeah. I can tell you that since I went back to eating how I ate before, I feel like shit again.
Oh, really?
And I've got heartburn again.
Oh, no.
That was literally gone. I was actually used to it until, my little thing happened there.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I've only got 3 days left. I'm done this week.
Is that right, eh?
And I finish on legalization day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Are you coming to the party and dart tournament?
That's the plan. That's the plan. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So after that, they talked about, who was the next guy? Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll.
1182. He's an actor, comedian, writer, and producer. We talked a little bit about him on the last episode, I think, right?
Yeah. We touched on him. He's there promoting his show on Netflix, Big Mouth.
Yeah. Have you seen Big Mouth?
I haven't.
Oh man, it's so good.
Is it good?
Yeah, the hormone monsters. Those are my favorite. So Nick Kroll's character is basically based on him as a kid.
Oh, okay.
And it's like they were talking about how it looks like him. It does look like him.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the main character, and he's got this hormone monster that is controlling him and pushing him to do things. And then the main like girl, she also has like a female like counterpart hormone monster, and the two hormone monsters sometimes interact, and it's really clever. And yeah, it's a great series, and I love The League as well. And there's also the Kroll Show. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't.
It's like a sketch comedy show.
No,
it's pretty good too.
I've only heard Kroll on these podcasts. I've never even heard his comedy, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard, because he does do stand-up as well, but I've never heard his stand-up. I've just seen all of his, like...
To be honest, there's a lot I haven't heard.
Video, yeah.
But I'm interested in all of it.
I was just talking with my girlfriend today, actually, about how we need to go see more live stand-up.
Yeah.
Big J. Okerson's coming to Edmonton, like, right away here.
Kathleen McGee's on that thing too, I believe.
On that same bill?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's opening or emceeing or.
I should reach out to Kathleen. Like, Kathleen,
yeah, man.
hook us up with some ticks.
Absolutely, I'd love to meet Kathleen
for the podcast.
What school did Kathleen McGee go to?
I don't know. I feel like JP or Vic.
Because like
Those
she
are my
knows
guesses.
all my friends somehow.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh well, then
There's
maybe
a
she
few
went to
people
Chef.
like that. I'm like, where was I? Like, the fuck?
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
She might be younger than us.
I think she's 35 or 36.
Okay, so she's just younger.
Just
than
a
us,
touch
then.
younger, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I
that's a
guess
big
I was-
difference. How many kids?
I was
in grade
already
10 did you
making
know?
big mistakes by grade 11.
Yeah. All right. So I love Big Mouth. They talk about pooping pants. They talk about Burning Man.
Burning Man. They talked about his acid trip. I think it was his first acid trip.
classical music and berries.
Yeah, driving around on bikes.
That was their.
Dude, Burning Man sounds like a fucking lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably a lot like the North Country Fair.
Yeah,
but bigger
hot.
and hot and
dry in the
yeah, a
desert.
little bit more.
Probably a lot of sunburn too, eh?
Well,
You
should
probably
bring.
get fucked up out there in the desert.
Oh, some people do.
I would.
You can bring sunscreen with you and
But
apply.
imagine the sunscreen and all that dust and sand flying around.
Yeah,
That makes a muddy mess on
get a
your
little
skin.
sticky. They, I'm sure they have like a shower area
Yeah,
somewhere you can take showers.
probably smells weird there too.
Yeah,
There's a lot of sweaty ass people. But
true.
I'd go to it in a heartbeat. That'd
Yeah.
be fun.
I'd be interested, like even more than going and listening to the different. There's a lot of like EDM, I think,
Mhm.
there,
Yeah.
and even more than going in that, I would be interested in going to all the different lectures. They have a lot of like psychedelic thinkers that go and talk about.
That'd be interesting for sure.
Yeah,
And the art. I'd love to go just for all the artwork, all the crazy things.
yeah. You're big into that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Drawing. How come you're not doing more drawings for the podcast?
I should be doing more.
Yeah.
That's not, see, it's hard to translate to that.
Whip up some podcast drawings.
I do like portraits.
Well, stop doing those.
I should stop.
No, I'm just kidding. Do like some. You can't do cartoons or.
No,
like-
you know what? I grew up drawing cartoons. It's weird. Since shifting to this portrait thing, it's hard to shift back to simple drawing.
Really?
It's hard to explain. But
Oh.
yeah, no, it's a good idea. I should get into that.
Yeah. I have ideas. Like I always have lots of ideas for things, but I lack the ability to like follow through. Other than with music, I can usually get my ideas out fairly much as I imagine them.
Yeah.
But like with drawing something, it's like the proportions of everything is always way off. Like the one arm's way too long, and I'm like, fuck, this looks like a 3-year-old drew it.
Well, I'm open to ideas.
Okay, well maybe we'll do some collabs.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Also, you've gotten pretty good with making the pictures that you make with it's not Photoshop, but it's like cheap Photoshop.
it's cheap Photoshop.
Yeah,
That shit comes with the computer.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm having fun with that shit, man.
Yeah,
It's cheap Photoshop, but it's pretty painstaking sometimes to get those lines
Is
as
it?
sharp even as I am. And sometimes
Okay.
if you look close, there's some weird little things like you'll see
Yeah.
a floating dot. Or,
someone's missing a finger.
yeah, microphones are coming from nowhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Alright.
they're a lot of fun to make though.
yeah. I have an idea for a picture that I want to make. My good friend and former bandmate Kimberly McGregor.
Yeah.
I want to take a picture of her, and then have it Kimberly, and then have another picture like beside Kimberly, but instead of spelling it like normal, spelling it Burly, like burly, like a burly man.
Okay.
And then in the other picture, putting like an axe and like a plaid, like a lumberjack kind of outfit on her. Maybe maybe a beard or something.
Yeah.
And so it would be Kimberly and then Kimberly, and yeah,
Probably be pretty easy to get her to take that other photo as well. Like get her in a lumberjack shirt and
yeah. No, I
and then
think it'd be
just
funnier
accent-
though to use the same photo and just Photoshop
Fair enough,
things
yep.
onto it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
And it would surprise her, and then I could post it and be like, "Look at this, I did it!"
Yeah.
Ha
Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
That shit's fun.
Nick Kroll. Anything else from Nick Kroll? What were your key takeaways there?
Not a lot of key takeaways. He's just a funny guy. It's one of those podcasts you just sort of listen
Yeah,
and laugh. I don't know. I didn't take away a lot from it.
very forgettable. You're saying
I hate to say that.
Nick Kroll is going to fight you the
Look,
next
they
time.
talked about guys shitting in the octagon. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen any of that video?
Yeah,
That shit's fucking funny,
That's
man.
pretty gross.
Imagine how awkward that would be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only two notes I made were, did you see Big Mouth, Pooping Pants, and Burning Man?
Well, they went into marathon runners that'll shit their pants and just keep going.
Yeah, might as well.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
But that causes problems.
Maybe you should wear like a diaper or something if you're going to plan to do that.
If that's at all a possibility. Yeah, I would.
Or like have some guy that like runs along behind you and he could like pull your shorts down a
Yeah,
little
just
bit
let
and
that
stick
shit fall out.
hook a tube up, or like maybe like a grocery bag, carry that behind. and
I
then
just
he
think
can
of that shit
catch it.
wadded up there running. Imagine the rash you'd end up with. at the
Yeah,
end.
that seems like
Jesus.
it wouldn't be good for. Probably feel good at first, but then eventually it would be bad.
You'd feel really bad about it after.
Yeah,
Like, fuck, I didn't even win.
yeah, especially
Butt
if it did
hurts.
some like damage.
My fucking legs are rashy. Anyway,
Andrew Santino, 1183.
that's a funny motherfucker, Andrew Santino. He
Yeah,
always makes me laugh, man.
yeah, he's a stand-up comedian and actor. Did you watch that show about comedians that he was in? It was like based on the Comedy Store.
Oh, what was it called? I'm Dying Up Here?
Yeah.
I didn't.
No?
No.
I watched the first several episodes, and then I couldn't get the next one, but I could get all the ones after. And I
Okay.
didn't want to like skip one, so I kind of got stalled.
Was it on Showtime or like HBO or something?
I think it was HBO,
Oh, okay.
but it's like Jim Carrey, I think, produced, and a lot of like the stories are stories that he kind of told from when he was in. Was that the
I've heard a
Comedy
lot
Store?
about the show.
Yeah. Pretty cool show. I watched a few of them and they were great, and he's good in it. He's also big into sports. He does this like props presented by Yahoo Sports,
Yeah.
Which is every Wednesday. There's new episodes of that. They talked about Trump and Kanye.
Yep. And how Jay-Z has basically unfriended Kanye.
Yeah, makes sense.
Kanye
Kanye
will not be Watch the Throne 2.
Yeah. I watched Saturday Night Live was really good. They made fun of the whole meeting quite a bit on just this last Saturday.
I've been seeing a lot of videos from Saturday Night Live
Yeah.
popping up.
Yeah, that's just such a weird part. Like we have, again, I talk about this all the time. It's such a complex world. There's all these different things happening all at once, and
Madness.
yeah, some of them are just funny and silly like this, but then some of them are insidious, and you're like, what is this a mask for something that's the way worse that's happening?
Well, it's like it's Idiocracy
Yeah,
meets Grand Theft Auto.
I wonder if it is.
Sometimes, man.
It feels like it is for sure.
Sometimes.
But-
Other times it feels normal as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's lots of talk about language and like angry. Like they were both. So they were angry about this tweet that was asking people to say pregnant people instead of pregnant women.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, and they acknowledge that people can be trans and
Yeah.
like that some people legitimately feel like they're born in the wrong body.
Mhm.
So if they acknowledge that, can someone not be born a woman but is trans man and then be a man that gets pregnant? Like, I think that's what the tweet was talking about. And I don't think anyone should be pissed that we say pregnant women, you know, instead of, and if you are a pregnant man, but it's also not completely absurd to say that there's a pregnant man if we're saying that this person is in fact a man, even though they have female genitalia.
Yeah, well, yeah. Then it's not absurd. It's fucking...
Well, what the fuck then?
I mean, I don't know.
I was like,
Why the hell do we got to muddy these waters so fucking much?
yeah. I was just like, I didn't get why they didn't get that. Like, I think it is silly to just ask everyone in the world to start saying pregnant people and to stop saying pregnant women.
I mean,
But
dude,
so you shouldn't be upset if somebody says, "Oh, like who's the pregnant woman?" "Oh, it's at me. I'm actually, I'm a man." I think that you should forgive those kind of
For sure.
mistakes very, very easily.
I mean,
But also, I think if that person feels like a man and they are a man, and I say, "Okay, you're a man in a woman's body, and you're pregnant. And you're a pregnant man."
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't care.
for sure.
I
But
don't-
you're the one that's got to go around explaining that.
Yeah.
No,
Or you're a pregnant non-binary, and you're neither man nor woman.
don't be surprised when everybody's still getting used to things
Yeah.
if they act not exactly how you want them to act.
Yeah.
That's my
And
takeaway from all
People
this.
that get outraged about all that stuff, they're a little silly, and I have a hard time hanging out with those people.
Yeah.
I have some friends that are ultra
too.
far left,
Me too.
and I'm like, okay, you do your thing, but like, even them, if I'm hanging out with them and I accidentally use the wrong pronoun or something, I do try to use whatever they want me to use.
Sure. Me
But
too.
if I accidentally use one, they don't actually get mad at me. They get more mad at like the culture that they feel is like, and then some people are like giant assholes about it.
Yeah.
And they get mad at those people.
I mean, they're just trying to be mad about something.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like to me.
I don't know. So that part of it, I was like, this is, you guys are kind of being dicks. Rogan, don't be a dick.
Don't.
Santino,
Come
don't also be a dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything else in the podcast I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
The crazy monks self-mummifying themselves. Did you hear about that? There's like they found this Buddha statue,
Yeah.
and like a monk had, I guess, gotten some assistance in like being put into the statue and then wrapped up, and he was like mummifying himself in the statue.
Like
And
alive, and they
alive, yeah. And he's like shitting into the statue, and it's the shit, actually, speaking of shit, that is like mummifying his like body, and then eventually he dies, and they finish
Bro.
finish the statue, and
Dude.
he's in there.
that
Yeah.
might be the worst way to die.
Yeah, but it's for a purpose. I don't know exactly what that purpose is, but he had convictions. Monks have convictions.
Well, yeah, obviously. Dude, you can't do that without some convictions.
Yeah,
They went into robot sex brothels.
right. There's one in Toronto.
Is there?
Yeah, it's like up and running, and you can go there.
I want
I
to
don't
know
know if
about
it's robots or if it's just dolls, but like there is like a weird brothel in Toronto.
what about the sanitation on that shit?
It seems gross.
They
Bad
using a
job.
pressure washer? Or
Yeah.
What happens?
I think you just got to dunk it in like a bathtub of like isopropanol.
Yeah, like an acid bath.
Yeah. You just got to make a new one every
Dude.
time.
I don't trust it.
Yeah.
I don't trust it.
I wouldn't even like you're familiar with like the fleshlight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I've never had one.
No.
But I imagine if I did have one, even that I would be like using it a second time, be like, oh, I don't know.
Someone very close to me that I know has one.
Oh,
Got
yeah?
it years ago, and I think he used it quite a bit for a bit.
Oh, yeah?
And then
Was
I
this
think-
like a camp person that had to go away and work at camp?
no.
I've heard that. I've heard people say that. That's
You
funny.
actually know him too. I'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay. We're not shouting out people.
No, I better not shout this one out.
Call out culture.
Oh.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know.
What else? They talked about the beginning of Upspeak in a news promo back in the 90s. They even played it. It was right at the end of the podcast. And they talked about, oh, fuck, I wish I could remember how the actual, do you remember the news promo at the end of the podcast there?
Yeah, kind of vaguely.
They were like talking about how you should talk to convey yourself with this Upspeak
Right.
and how that,
Yeah, and
how
like
insidious that became.
DJs and
Yeah.
was that the one?
Well, it was after that. I think that's what spun
led
into
to
this.
the
Yeah.
the different ways of talking in order to make your points more valid and yeah.
I
Upspeak is
can't
the
even
real.
do it the way Joe does it. But
That's the like PC way.
yeah.
What we're doing is we're trying to have a
Oh,
good
yeah, there it
podcast,
is.
Shane,
Fuck,
and I
hate that.
need for you to pull your weight.
I'm so bowed out. As soon as
Yeah.
you started talking to me, my ears
Yeah.
closed. Like, no.
That's funny.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's terrible.
Okay, well, don't do that. And Jamie's the Nut King.
The Nut King.
Hashtag
Yeah.
Nut King. We should make some posts about young Jamie and hashtag Nut
Who
King.
else calls it nutting?
I don't know.
Only Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Man, I nutted all over my belly.
It's so fucking funny, though.
It is.
I never think to say it whenever the topic of nut comes up.
I'm going to say it next time I'm getting romantic with my girlfriend.
Seems aggressive.
Nut in your face. Come here.
Oh, man.
She probably won't like that very
Can you
much.
imagine
I don't
keeping
know,
a
maybe
straight face while saying that?
I can't. That's the problem. But should you keep a? No, you shouldn't.
I don't
I
know.
always wonder with sex. You know, like is it good to be silly sometimes? I think so.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a silly thing that we do.
Yeah.
I prefer that to like just like trying to be real, like genuine. Like, oh, come here.
No, shit, man. That,
Yeah.
no. I think it's best you just be yourself
Yeah,
most of it and all the time.
and I'm a pretty silly dude. So
Yeah.
1184. Last show of the week was Rosanne Barr.
Roseanne Barr. I was
I-
pretty excited to see this one, actually.
Yeah, they've been talking about it for a long time, having
Yeah.
Roseanne on. Of course, she's she's Roseanne.
I
from
was
the-
I
from
listened
TV
to the
show.
last one. That was actually like maybe 2 weeks before the whole thing blew up.
Oh, when
She
she was
came
last on Rogan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that she was on Rogan before until you just said it just now. But I did hear the last one. But so you went and re-listened to it?
No,
Oh, you listened to it then?
yeah, and then I remembered the whole blow up, and then yeah,
Yeah.
so I
right.
was super jacked to hear this one.
Yeah. Do you think that Roseanne used to be a hyphenated name, like Rose Ann, and then eventually it just became Roseanne?
Probably not.
Hmm.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think probably
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Rose and
Rose Ann,
hmm,
and then it became Roseanne.
seems more attractive than both of them slammed together like that.
Yeah, Roseanne, take my advice, re-hyphenate your name.
And then just go with one or the other.
Yeah.
Shorten things up.
Do you think people call her Ro? What do you, Rosie?
Rosie? But didn't Dan call her Rosie all the time on the show?
Did he? I don't
Yeah, he
really
did.
remember.
I remember Dan doing that. Is
Yeah.
that his name? Dan?
Dan, yeah.
Yeah, Dan.
That is his name in the show, too. And her name was Roseanne in the show.
right.
But all the kids didn't have the
that's what
actors'
it
names.
was. That's why I was getting fucked up. I'm like, Dan, that's his real name though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is his real name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the show's going on without her.
Yeah, the Connors.
It's going to be called The Connors.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It is stupid.
Yeah. It does. I kind of get where Joe is coming from, and she may not be a racist. She definitely is like crazy though.
She's
And-
fucking. She talked about reptilians.
Yeah.
Okay. With-
She's
Not ironically. You're in crazy land when you bring that shit up.
Do you watch South Park?
I've not a lot.
The last South Park, they were talking about tweeting with Ambien.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was Mr. Hankey. He runs the Christmas pageant
Yeah.
every year, and they were like, "Hey, Mr. Hankey, we're going to cut your budget for the Christmas pageant because you made this tweet." He's like, "Oh, that was just a joke. I was on Ambien." And then they cut his budget, and then he's trying to get the like little South Park fourth graders to like. He was going to have a symphony, and now he's getting them to play all the instruments, and they're terrible. And then he goes and he tweets like, "South Park fourth graders are pieces of shit. And it's all racist too. Like, little fucking, I don't even, N-bomb terrible kids. And so then he ends up, spoiler alert, he gets fired and he has to go to a trial. And he's like, oh, you guys just don't get it. I'm just making jokes. and yeah, it's all because of Ambien. And so I thought, like, that came out at the same time that Rosanne is on Rogan talking about that big controversy.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
Not.
No.
Shit's fucking crazy, man. Who's taking Ambien?
People that want to sleep, I think.
It's a sleeping pill?
I think
is that
so.
what the sleeping pill is? Because I've never had a sleeping pill in my life.
No, I mean, there's like Sleepy's D. That's not Ambien.
They used to sell that shit at the store and stuff, didn't
Yeah, they still do, I think.
Really?
Yeah, or like Tylenol nighttime. Like, that's got some like codeine and some stuff to help you sleep in it.
they? Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think that. Yeah, Ambien is, I think, a prescription sleeping pill.
I've done NyQuil a bunch.
NyQuil, yeah. You've done NyQuil?
I feel like you're doing something when you're doing NyQuil.
Anything that's got codeine in it that can.
Shit puts you to sleep. I remember getting fucked up on NyQuil when I was a kid. All like head lolling on the couch.
I remember hearing about it and being like, huh, interesting. But it just seemed so hurting that I was like, I don't ever want to do that.
I mean, like my mom giving it to me as medicine.
thought you
Not
meant,
like drinking it, like
I
pounding
thought you
the
bought
bar.
it from a street dealer who was
Doing some
selling
scissor
it.
or whatever. Isn't that what they call that shit?
Scissored?
Well, they mix the fucking, what do they call that shit? Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but syrup. Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I've lost the whole thing now. But
No, I know what you're
You know what I'm
talking
talking about?
Yeah.
the
They get
rappers do
slizzard.
it.
I think that's
Slizzard, yeah, man.
that's the term.
Oh shit!
So Zolpidem, sold under the brand name Ambien, among others, is a medication primarily used for the short-term treatment of sleeping problems.
Okay.
You heard it here first. The formula C19H21N30. Write that down, Shane.
Okay, it's wrote down. Oh man,
What else? What do we say about Rosanne?
I mean, she sounds old too, eh? Like she just sounds
Yeah.
kind of like a batty old lady at this
little
point.
curmudgeon-y.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was
I feel like
like,
she's past the point where a spotlight should be on her. Even
maybe.
I've got old curmudgeon-y grandparents and relatives.
Yeah.
And they should never have a microphone in front of them.
I found her mildly annoying.
Yeah,
The whole, not my favorite show.
I mean, Roseanne didn't need to come back.
No.
It was an 80s and 90s show.
Yeah. And I was fine that it came back. And I watched a couple of them. And I was like, okay, that's all right. It definitely didn't blow me away.
What about Fuller House or whatever? Did
That
you check
also
that shit
didn't.
out?
I did watch that also.
I didn't even touch
And
touch it.
Didn't blow me away either. Neither of those.
I bet Full House doesn't hold up at all.
I watched quite a few. I was a little bit old for Full House, but I had like 4 channels when I was a kid,
Me too.
and it would be like the only thing on. I'm like,
It was
all right,
TGIF.
I guess I'm watching.
That was the
fucking
shit that was on
shitty,
Friday.
Shitty Full House or news, and
It
I'm
was
like,
fucking-
I'm not watching news.
There was Family Matters, Full House, fucking 2 other ones.
Yeah.
There was always 4. I can't.
Family Matters is much better than
Oh, yeah, that
than
was
Full
good
House.
shit.
I was way more into that.
Yeah, and
My
Fresh
sister
Prince.
was also into Full House. She was a big fan of it. She was the perfect age.
My sisters watched it as well.
Yeah, so I'm like, you got a sister.
I
that
got
wants to
dragged
watch
into a lot of shit because of my
it.
sisters.
Yeah,
Rainbow Bright, fucking Barbies.
that's why you have all those Barbies and those Rainbow Brights and
Oh man,
those posters all over your room.
that's why.
I figured.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're up around the 45-minute mark here, just crossing it now. So,
No need to push our fucking boundaries every single episode.
yeah, absolutely. But thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you're enjoying this show and if you want to hear us talk about other things, or if you have ideas for things we could talk about within the Rogan world, we're all about that. So please get at us via email or tweets or Facebook. We have all of the ways for you to get at us. So get at us.
Subscribe, listen, leave us a review on iTunes.
Yeah,
It'd be really
rate,
great. Rate
Send us
5,
all the money in your bank accounts, of course, finally.
Yeah.
That's it.
please.
Joe Rogan's unique perspective is teaching us all how to best live, and we will attempt to recap all of his weekly podcasts. Now show your support and download the Rogan Report. The Rogan